What's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of Ask RGT 85, where I answer your questions. This week's question comes to us from Mike Ray. Mike asks, why Nintendo? I recently did a video on this as well. Just curious to see why you choose to mainly cover Nintendo and what influenced that. Well, that's a very interesting question. There's actually several different segmented answers that I have to give, so let's get into it. So the first reason why I choose to primarily cover Nintendo stuff when it comes to modern gaming is obviously I am a part of Nintendo Enthusiast. I am their editor-in-chief. I've been writing for them for over, 3.5 years now. So obviously a lot of time when I'm not, working on videos, I'm doing writing. I'm working on Nintendo stuff. I do a weekly podcast over on Nintendo Enthusiast YouTube channel. I still do videos on there. I still do reviews. So a lot of my focus in gaming is on Nintendo stuff for work-related purposes. It's just how the cookie crumbled. It's what I got into. And that's cool with me because I love Nintendo. I've always loved Nintendo. They've always been, just this unique, interesting company. So the first and simple reason is just because that's what I'm tuned into the most when it comes to my writing, my journalism, and, working on the Nintendo Enthusiast channel. The second reason is definitely something more personal. If it wasn't for Nintendo, I think a lot of people ages 25 to 34 would have never picked up a video game controller. That's what we grew up on. That's what we had, and that's what we fell in love with. And Nintendo has always managed to sort of keep that gaming purity, it never feels soulless. And what do I mean by that? Look at a company like Sega. I love Sega to death. Everything from the Master System to the Dreamcast. Phenomenal systems, great games on all of them. But when Sega got out of the hardware business and they started focusing, strictly on their games, there was definitely a shift. You started getting, look at Phantasy Star. Phantasy Star was a phenomenal JRPG series on the Genesis, and now it's been regulated to an MMO. And while there's a lot of people that like it, I know there's a lot of people that want those MMO games to come back. Where's Shining Force? Where's Virtua Fighter? There's so many great Sega franchises that just seem to have gone by the wayside since they have gotten strictly into game development and, no longer working with hardware. And I think the biggest thing that shows what I'm talking about is the Sonic series. Like, yes, for every Sonic Colors or Sonic Generations, which were, really solid titles, there was games like Sonic 06, there was Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, they never did a natural progression. They never really knew what to do with Sonic after Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles, and it shows. And I think by them getting out of the hardware business, that sort of, threw a stymie in. They didn't know exactly what to do, and now you have just, Project Sonic looks promising, but everyone's more excited about Sonic Mania because it goes back to that original style. And that's one thing that Nintendo always manages to do. Looking at the evolution of Mario Kart video I just did, I was amazed to see from Super Nintendo to the Nintendo Switch, over 25, 30 years of progression, yet the game is still Mario Kart. You could play any iteration of Mario Kart and be like, this is a Mario Kart game. They improved upon these things, they took away these things, and it looks better, mostly if you're talking about consoles and stuff. Same thing with 3D Mario games, like, Mario 64 to Super Mario Galaxy 2. Like, it's natural progression. The Legend of Zelda has come full circle. It went from an open world game on the NES to all these different sort of things, and now it's back to an open world game. So the progression of Nintendo games makes me focus on Nintendo when it comes to modern. When it comes to retro, I will talk about anything. I love the original PlayStation, the PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, Master System, all that stuff. But when it comes to modern, Nintendo definitely has my attention. Now, that's not to say that I'm not a fan of the Sony brand and PlayStation. I think the PlayStation 1 through PlayStation 3 have phenomenal libraries. The PlayStation 4 is my multi-platform device. If I want a realistic game, if I want a game where I'm being a graphics whore, if you will, I play it on my PlayStation 4. A game like Doom, I loved Doom. Doom was freaking amazing. It was so good, and it ran best on the PlayStation 4, which is why I never picked up an Xbox One. And there's a lot of great indie games on the PlayStation 4 as well. Abzu, Shadow Complex Remastered, I loved both of those games. I actually did reviews of both of those games on this channel, just a lot of people didn't really seem interested in them, so I haven't really done much, with modern PlayStation stuff. But I definitely respect PlayStation and Sony. I definitely respect Nintendo. And when it comes to Microsoft, I don't know. I'm just not really interested. The Xbox original Xbox was a cool system. A lot of great games on there, a lot of unique games on there. But with the 360 and then transitioning, I thought the 360 was good, but transitioning into the Xbox One, I think the Xbox brand lost a lot. And it just kind of became this soulless entity, like Mountain Dew and Doritos, the video game console. Like that's what I feel when I play a Microsoft, system nowadays, a current Microsoft system. I just feel like there's no soul behind it. They're in it strictly for money. And of course, every company is a business. Every company wants to make money, but Nintendo does do fan service, whether you want to admit it or not, whether it's catered to you or not. They do listen to fans. Sony, same thing. They listen to fans. Microsoft says they listen to fans, but what have they done really? They canceled Scalebound, which I thought was an amazing looking game. And they, now everyone's talking about the Scorpio and how the development kits have a FPS and a output meter on it to show what the game, 1080p, 60 frames per second, locked, 4K. Who cares? Where are the games? There's no exclusive games on the Xbox One brand right now. And I really feel like Microsoft, they're transitioning. They're going to that Windows-based, system. They're gonna focus more on PC, and I don't know. I don't care enough about Microsoft to cover their new stuff. I'll talk about the original Xbox all day. I love that system. There's so much good stuff on there. But when it comes to modern gaming, it's definitely Nintendo focused, with a dash of PlayStation 4 and a little sprinkle of Xbox One. And the final reason that is because at the end of the day, this is my channel, and I'm gonna talk about things I know about. I'm gonna talk about things I'm confident in speaking about. I don't like to talk about things that I'm not familiar with just to get views, because that's, disingenuous to people. Faking the funk, if you will. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not that type of person. I'm not the type of person to read a news story, verbatim and then act like I know what I'm talking about. I only talk about things I am familiar with and what you guys want, because, like I said, those PlayStation 4 reviews that I did, didn't do that great. Duke Nukem actually did pretty good though on the channel. So I don't know, maybe I'll revisit some PlayStation 4 stuff. But most of the time, you guys like my Nintendo videos. You guys are watching the Nintendo videos. And if you don't like the Nintendo videos of modern Nintendo, there's retro Nintendo, there's retro Sega, there's retro other companies going on. So I just try to expand my audience as much as possible and try to have something for everyone. And, if that's a bad thing to do, if it's bad to make videos that I like and that I'm, well versed in and that, make me happy, then I guess you're on the wrong channel, because I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Probably a bit long-winded, probably went all over the place and confused myself. I probably contradicted myself. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. If you want to enter a question into Ask RGT 85, make sure you like the Facebook fan page in the description box down below. And I will catch you guys next time. I'm actually going to work on a video of a series that I thought was dead, Hardware Pushers. All of a sudden, 20,000 views overnight. We're working on a Saturn one now, baby. Later.
RGT 85! RGT 85! RGT 85!